Our last question is coming from John in Huntsville, who has a question about the IRS. So John, you're on the line with Senator Lee.
Senator Lee, it's an honor to speak with you, and thank you for having the courage to weather the criticism that you receive from our less than conservative Republicans.
Thank you, John.
And my question to you, sir, is the overreach of the IRS in seizing bank accounts of citizens with no proof of wrongdoing. And I think that those confiscatory laws need to be changed.
You know, John, I agree with you. One of the things that we're guaranteed as Americans is that neither our liberty nor our property will be taken from us without due process of law. Meaning, we have a right to a trial. We've got a right to certain processes being given to us before either our liberty or our property, including our money, is taken from us. And the government doesn't always respect our right to due process, especially when it does things like what you've described. This is one of the reasons why when Loretta Lynch was in front of the Judiciary Committee, on which I sit just a week before last, I asked her some questions about the federal government's civil asset forfeiture program, a program that has been used in recent years to seize people's assets, a program that has been used in such a way in recent years that kind of ignores the whole principle of innocent until proven guilty. And in fact, it kind of assumes that you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent and allows the government to take your property in the meantime. This was yet another question that Loretta Lynch did not answer to my satisfaction, yet another question in which she largely punted, in which she largely refused to acknowledge certain very basic, fundamental rights that the American people have, and that certain things that the federal government is doing are wrong. We've got to restore those principles, and the way we do this is by returning to these lost, forgotten about constitutional principles that have just been neglected in recent years, in part because members of Congress have assumed incorrectly that the Constitution is something for the courts to worry about. Well, you know, it's not. The Constitution is a document that belongs to the American people. It was George Washington who famously said in 1787, shortly after the Constitution was drafted, that from time to time the American people would see that the Constitution was not being implemented according to their wishes. As he explained, whenever that happens, the people can and undoubtedly will recall their representatives in Washington. They'll choose another. They'll recall them sort of like the Ford Pinto was recalled in the late 1970s. They will change those people who represent them in Washington. And it's time for us to do that again. People have spoken just this last November, and they've made a lot of decisions to change the personnel in Washington. That's going to continue. And as that continues, we'll reclaim more of our rights under the Constitution. Thank you very much for your concern, which I share.